J.R. Shepard notched his fourth straight victory and managed to extend his lead in the standings. But after a 2-week layoff, we reconvene right next door to NASA's Langley Research Center at the legendary Langley Speedway. Formerly known as Dude Ranch Speedway, this fairly flat oval will be where Justin Morton and James Lowe try to break the streak and return to victory lane. Not to mention a slew of new challengers looking to make their mark as well. And you will see it all here live on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Chris Phoebe, and joining me tonight will be Jeff Smith. At the control center is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Here at Langley Speedway, in the words of the great philosopher Randy Savage, the sky's the limit and space is the place. So let's turn up the Hampton heat for our virtual lap guide here at Langley.
Welcome to Langley Speedway, one of the most challenging short tracks in America. Located across from NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, Langley has served as the career launch pad for some great drivers. The fast line around Langley can be deceiving for first-time drivers. It's tempting to want to bury the car into the corner below the painted line and hug the grass. But the shallow entry, especially in turn 1, often leads to problems on corner exit. And that wall is especially unforgiving on this 4/10 track. Drivers are in for a workout here at Langley, which is 6 degrees of banking in the corners and 4 on the straights. Langley personifies the meaning of the bump and run pass. It is short track racing to its core, and contact is a welcome occurrence in the corners at this track. Drivers who succeed here usually are best at tire conservation and the art of capitalizing on mistakes from the cars in front of them. And side-by-side racing, while possible, usually slows both drivers down. Langley hosted 9 NASCAR Grand National events here from 1964 to 1970. The winners list reads like a who's who of NASCAR champions and Hall of Famers. Ned Jarrett, Richard Petty, David Pearson, Bobby Isaac, and Bobby Allison. So who's going to join that list next? Let's find out. Enjoy the show.
All right, that was a quick trip around the track here at Langley Speedway. And now to snap into some more track details, we're going to throw things over to my co-host tonight, Mr. Jeff Smith. Jeff, tell us about this place.
Yeah, this place is going to be a wild ride for these guys tonight. It's real flat, so 6 degrees turn into bankings, less than half mile, just a little over a quarter mile. And this, I'm watching these guys in practice, and it's just they're getting really loose on exit if they get into it too quick. So they're going to be in for a wild ride here in Hampton, Virginia.
Yeah, as you can see on the screen, it's a bit of an asymmetrical track, which adds even more of a challenge here for these drivers. And one of those drivers that's going to be contending with the challenge is the gentleman second in the point standings. He calls St. Louis, Missouri home. Joining us now, Justin Morton, driver of car number 9. Justin, how's the track tonight?
Quite one lane compared to other races. It's going to be really cutthroat racing out here.
Now, what do you mentioned it being cutthroat with a fairly flat single groove track. How do you know where the limit is as far as maybe moving the guy in front of you versus waiting for the right time to make your move?
I generally try to wait to make my move. I hate moving a guy. I almost feel worse moving a guy than getting moved myself. So I almost try to wait most of the time. The opportunities, you have to take them when you get them, though.
Now, Justin, you're second in the point standings right now. The season's winding down, and there's a bit of a gap between yourself and J.R. Shepard. What do you have to do to maybe close that up and try to maybe turn this season around in your direction?
It might be too late to try to turn the season around. It's, I think, like a 30-point gap. JR is just so consistently fast that it's really hard to take him down.
All right. Well, Justin, I know we still got some practice time left, so we'll let you go work on getting your line dialed in a little bit, and we'll hopefully talk to you later on at the end of the broadcast.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, best of luck tonight. That was Justin Morton, driver at car number 9. He'll definitely be one of the top contenders tonight. And if you'd like to be a top contender for best vacation at the best value, you definitely like to get in touch with our sponsor for the league, the Cruise Shop. They've been in operation since 1986. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. And they would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. Give them a call today, 260-755-6125, or visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams one destination at a time. Once again, thank them for their loyal sponsorship of the series. And right now we're going to jump into talking about our championship standings here as we close in on the 3-minute warning here towards the end of Hot Laps. The cream rising to the top, J.R. Shepherd riding a wave of 4 straight victories, sits atop the standings with a pretty healthy 34-point gap over Justin Morton. James Lowe hanging tough in the 3rd spot, 64 points back, maybe at this point a little bit out of touch for the lead, but could possibly make a Hail Mary charge to get the runner-up position. Donnie Moore and Brian Dean flip-flopping positions for the 2nd race in a row, with Donnie Moore advancing back up to the 4th position, just 2 markers ahead of Brian Dean for our final spot in the top 5 there, Jeff. And while J.R. Shepherd's kind of strong up front, it looks like towards the back of the top 5 that championship battle's heating up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see Brian Dean back there fighting for a spot in the top 5. You know, these guys are just, I don't know, there's so much talent here, and it continues to surprise me, but not really surprise me. You know, we watch these guys do battle each and every week, and just there's so much talent in this league, and I can't thank these guys enough for putting on the show they do for us every week.
Yeah, I definitely can dig it with these. This Arca Menard style car has really lent itself to some great racing. You know, I'll be honest, when we kind of headed into it with the switch over from the SK Modified over to the Grand National cars, the primary division for the Bootleg Racing League, I was a little hesitant, being a huge fan of modified racing, but these fully fendered stock cars that are pretty heavy and having to muscle them around on these short tracks that BRL is known for has really made for a lot of really great racing.
Yeah, you said it perfectly there. That was my big worry, is taking these big heavy cars to these shorter tracks. But I mean, it works out so well with these guys and the group of guys that they've got here. And again, the talent level is just so high, and these cars for most people are almost undrivable, you know, on some of these tracks, but these guys do it each and every week, and it's still amazing to me.
Yeah, as we can see, actually the 30 of Michael Redding, who's one of the drivers that just looped it there, he's going to be our driver starting on the pole. To give you a little bit of an understanding, our details on this race, Bootleg Racing League, a little bit different than some of the other series. They don't qualify. They take the finishing order from the previous event. They invert the top 8. So Michael Redding, who finished 8th at our event 2 weeks ago, will be starting on the pole. This is the 9th of 11 races, so that championship battle is definitely at the critical point. It's 100 laps the distance here at Langley Speedway with no tire changes allowed, Jeff. And that's going to be where tire management really becomes to a premium, because on a flat track like this, there's a lot of lateral load on those tires.
Yeah, and as I said in the pre-race stuff, you know, watching them get loose on exit, they're really gonna have to manage that, because every bit of sliding that you do, that, you know, it's almost 1% off the tires each time. So you can't be tearing them up. We've watched guys get way out in front and then kind of lose it towards the end, and you just gotta find that balance.
Yeah, that's a really strong point to make. I mean, these drivers have a lot of work in store for them. And we're getting ready to kick things off here as we head over to our starting grid as Hot Laps wind up. And like we mentioned, Michael Redding is going to be the driver starting out in front of the field, with Mike Holloway outside of him in that first row. Inside of row number 2 is going to be Justin Morton, the driver we talked to in pre-race, with James Lowe, a hard charger, to his outside. J.R. Shepherd will be next up, starting in the 6th position, with Kurt Smith and Jeffrey Harden completing that 4th row. Robbie Robinson in 9th, and then Lowell Jewell will complete the top 10.
Bruce Pearson starts tonight in 11th, Joe Segala in 12th, Matt Shanoski in 13th, Austin Belke in 14th, Todd Liston in 15th, Tim Shanoski in 16th, Jason Menda 17th, Ruben Ortiz 18th, Chris Wolfson 19th, and Mike Allen finished out the field tonight in 20 car field tonight.
20 cars, 100 laps is the plan. You can see everybody forming up on the grid here at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. This track, once known as Dude Ranch Speedway, one of the more unique names in short track racing. This is one of the home tracks where drivers like Denny Hamlin got their start, and this is a very tough and gritty short track, not a lot of banking, so there's going to be a lot of skill that's going to be needed. And if skill doesn't work, there's always our good friend the chrome horn.
Yeah, and I think it's going to have to go around pretty generously tonight, because I just don't see that second line being able to form in as much as you can. So it's going to take the guy in front of you slipping up or you moving him to get past him, and we've seen these guys make it happen.
So the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to be going green this time around. It's Michael Redding in the 30, Justin Holloway in the 2, supposed to be on the outside of that front row. Looks like Holloway may be conspicuous in his absence. So this time around, pace car into turn number 3. It's going to be peeling off here shortly. So it looks like Donnie Moore is going to pull up to the outside of that front row as the green flag is out, and we are underway here in Langley, Virginia. Looks like Michael Redding's going to have the advantage as they head off into turn number 1. He's got a pretty good sized lead now as Justin Morton works past Donnie Moore. He'll take overhand to the second spot. As we reach the conclusion of lap number 1, it's going to be Michael Redding out in front. And already James Lowe now challenging for third. He'll take the final podium position. Oh, and J.R. Shepard with a big loose moment there. The rear end of the car almost going around. A very uncharacteristic move by Shepard. Does not lose a lot of ground, but has lost touch with the top 4 runners. And looks like a caution on the speedway. The 44, Jeffrey Harden, facing the wrong direction. So we're going to take a look here at our replay. We're going to hop on board with the 44, Jeffrey Harden. One of the principals involved in... Oh, actually, this started way ahead. Looks like Bruce Pearson, Joe Segala, Lowell Jewell all involved. So we're going to hop back a little bit, look a little bit further up in the field, following along with the 96 of Bruce Pearson here, Jeff. And looks like he gets into the back of the 19 of Lowell Jewell, and he tried to check up to avoid further driving into Lowell, and looks like it stacked up behind him.
Oh yeah, big pile up here is collected Austin Belke, and looks like Ruben Ortiz also, or no, that'd be Joe Segala, and yeah, just not anywhere for any of these guys to go, and we're going to see that a lot tonight. These close quarters racing.
Yeah, looks like the 45 of Jason Menda also got mixed up in that. As they sit right now, Menda must have been a little bit worse for wear. He's now 2 laps down as they run under caution. So with 96 laps remaining, it's showing the 9 of Justin Morton as our leader over the 30 of Michael Redding. And if you'd like to follow along with all the up-to-the-minute information, live scoring at home, GSRC.TV will give you all of the pertinent information as far as how fast your favorite driver's going, where they are in the running, and basically all the information you could want about this race that we're not giving you on the air, you can find at GSRC.TV. So getting the field ready to possibly double up there. Now timing and scoring has corrected itself. It is Michael Redding, your leader in car number 30. I thought that seemed a little bit suspect, but who am I to question our computer overlords?
Yeah, and did you see the run that Michael Redding got on the restart there? Just a very, very smooth start for him. So I look for him to get out front and stay out there if he can keep the tires underneath him. And we saw J.R. Shepard already, wanting to whip around. So it's really going to take some discipline.
Yeah, it looked like maybe the 98 of Shepard a little too hot to handle. Maybe the tire's a little bit too cold to hold as the rear end of the 98 stepped out big time, but didn't cost him too much as he was able to keep pace with the rest of the field. And with that caution coming out, they're going to tighten them back up. We're working the completion of lap number 7 as we get ready to go back to green here. Pace car makes that abrupt left-hand turn off of turn 4. Green flag is back out. It's Michael Redding once again with a great restart. By virtue of just where they restarted, James Lowe able to challenge Justin Morton for the runner-up position. And he's got the 98 of J.R. Shepard looking to freight train the number 9 out of St. Louis. So Justin Morton fighting an uphill battle on the outside there. It looks like now the 26 of Donnie Moore going to try to get around him as well.
Yeah, and he's just going to have to find his spot and line and tuck in there for right now. Let everybody kind of sort this thing out and go pick them off one at a time.
Now, James Lowe running there in the second position. He's looking to get back to victory lane. It's been since Myrtle Beach back at the beginning of April. Or excuse me, it's been since 5 Flags at the end of March that James Lowe has found himself in victory lane and trying to make a fight for that second position in points. You know, he's very hungry to take a win. But Michael Redding, a new driver in this series, really his first chance to be running up front and leading some laps, so he's looking to make an impression as well.
Yeah, and he's sliding him a little bit on entry, so he's gonna have to calm down a little bit, not let Lowe know that he's itching, and keep the tires underneath him because we got a long way to go.
That's a very good, Jeff. With a track this flat, it's got to be so hard to keep those tires underneath you for 100 laps, especially with how close all these drivers are running. The urge to try to put the hammer down maybe a little bit too early has got to be right there, right in these drivers' minds, but you kind of got to drive like you have an egg underneath that accelerator pedal.
Yeah, and you got to think about the guy in front of you, when he's going to check up, when he's going to get back on the gas. You got to know when he's going to mess up. That's a lot of short track racing. Like it's 98% taking advantage of the guy making a mistake in front of you, and we've seen that time and time again. And especially with these guys, you know, they will not be the first to move anybody without giving them a lot of time to make that mistake. So it's going to take Redding messing up for Lowe to be able to make that pass, unless he's willing to use that chrome horn. And there's not enough over out here tonight for all those chrome horns.
Yeah, looks like James Lowe right now trying to put the 30 of Michael Redding in the danger zone as he applies a lot of pressure on the back bumper of the 30 of Redding. He's definitely doing his part to social distance and not trying to move the 30 car, but he is getting just about as close as he can without doing so. So our top 2 drivers pretty much nose to tail, as J.R. Shepard once again a bit loose off the corner. So it looks like this maybe this fixed setup they have here at Langley Speedway, maybe not to J.R. Shepard's liking. Of course, as I say that, he is still running in the 3rd position and running pretty strongly as well, but just seems to be a little less at ease than we're used to seeing, Jeff.
Yeah, and watch these guys sawing that wheel back and forth. It's just it's crazy to me that they're going to be able to keep this car underneath them for 100 laps, but I have no doubt in my mind that they will, and they'll be successful at doing that. And it's just the amount of talent that it takes to wheel these cars around these short tracks is unbelievable.
Yeah, and you got to think James Lowe is getting really antsy to make a move. I saw him just try to challenge on the outside there a couple laps ago, and now he's really looks like he's just waiting for the right moment to pounce. But so far, that 30 of Redding is doing a great job keeping his car planted right where it needs to be, so that's not allowing the 99 and James Lowe to get underneath them. So we're working lap number 23 right now, as you can see on your screen, closing in on 1/4 distance here at Langley, Virginia. A very unique track here in both its untypical shape and the low banking here, making for just a very physical track that these drivers are wrestling. As we continue to watch the battle here, we're going to hop on board now with the 99 and James Lowe And you can see just how frustratingly close he's getting to that 30 of Michael Redding. And Redding teasing him a little bit. He leaves the door open just a smidge on corner entry, kind of drives it down to the apex there towards the middle, and shuts the door on James Lowe. So Lowe almost getting teased now by the leader to try to make a move.
He doesn't want to do that too much because James Lowe is not one to not take the opportunity, as he looks really, really low there. I don't think that he's going to be able to make that pass on the apron there. I think it's just a sketchy place down there. So he's going to have to, he might have to move Redding up out of the groove a little bit and make that pass.
Well, you have to expect the unexpected in the Kingdom of Madness, as you have such great talent there running in second, third, fourth, and fifth position. Michael Redding still an unknown quantity, so to speak, with the Bootleg Racing League. And you know, these drivers, most of them have years of experience racing against each other, and they're not afraid to be right up next to each other for the duration of a race. But so far, it looks like they're maybe treating Redding with kid gloves, so to speak. They're really not putting the hammer to him. Maybe they're not sure of how he's going to race. But you got to think, with everybody being so close, that James Lowe has to be considering a move sooner than later.
Well, and what Lowe doesn't want to do is sit back there and fight and try to get past Redding, because he's got J.R. Shepherd breathing down his neck also, just waiting for one or both of them to make a mistake, and he will set sail. And you've also got Donnie Moore back there just waiting, and they're not burning up their stuff. They're just following the leader at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anybody, but it looks like James Lowe is actually making the move now. He got alongside there heading into the corner, and he's going to still be there as they head down the back straightaway. So things are definitely heating up front now. Lowe, looks like the back end stepped out on a couple of those cars there, as that battle up front is getting very intense, Jeff.
Yeah, he's going to have to put the pressure down on Lowe and not just give it to him. I just don't know that he's going to be able to do it from that top side. And he's going to, right, is when he slides into one, he's just losing so much momentum. He's doing a really good job of the drive off, but that sliding in, it's just going to eat him up. And he's working on getting trained right now.
So we have ourselves a new leader in the 99 at James Lowe taking command. As we're past now the 1/3 mark of this race as we work lap number 35. It's Lowe, Shepherd, and Redding, your top three. Michael Redding able to get back down to the bottom of the track. We'll see now if he can regroup. Oh no, he is still way out of shape. Redding, you can see on your screen there, way up at the top of the track. He's going to give up probably at least 2 more positions. So a tough break for that 30 machine. And how about as we see him there towards the back of the screen there, let's give a shout out to the 56 of Robbie Robinson. He's probably having one of his best runs of the season right now, up in the 6th position. So great run for him as he's closing in now on a top 5 finish, as he's quickly closing the gap to the 30 of Michael Redding.
Yeah, and worth mentioning too, Ruben Altice won the modified race prior to this race, and he's moved his way from 18th up to 8th, and he's on a charge. So will he be able to get the rest of them, or is he going to kind of fizzle out like Redding did?
Yeah, Ruben Altice, a home state driver here. He's a native of Ferrum, Virginia. Not a city I'm super familiar with. I can't say I've ever vacationed in Ferrum, but nonetheless, Ruben Altice, a victory already under his belt tonight, and who knows, the way this track can play out, he could find himself on his way back to victory lane. He's already charged from 18th up to 8th position, Jeff.
Yeah, and it's really exciting to see these guys up here mixing it up. You got guys like Todd Liston that have made big moves. Ruben Altice, Tim Shinosky from 16th to 10th. These guys are making huge moves, and they're going to be playing a part here real quick.
Nonetheless, it is still James Lowe up front with almost a quarter-second advantage over J.R. Shepherd, as the field I gotta say, Jeff, when we came into this one, I figured with a flat track, kind of somewhat similar to what we saw at Martinsville, I was expecting this to be a little bit more chaotic, but these drivers are really just kind of showing their mettle, so to speak, and doing a great job playing nice so far. But the pay window hasn't opened yet, so maybe the intensity will step up here shortly. As James Lowe beginning to run down lap traffic, but that's not the only concern he has right now. The 98 of J.R. Shepard is getting very close to that back bumper. As those of you following along on GSRC.tv can see that gap shrinking lap after lap between those two drivers. And I don't think you could fit a sheet of paper between the two of them right now.
No, and this is going to come down to who can manage the lap traffic the best, and how much respect the lap traffic does have for those leaders. And these guys know, like, they get out of the way, they make their moves, and as long as they're not running for position, they know, like, hey, look, we gotta let the leaders do their thing, and then it comes down to who's gonna do battle. My worry is, did James Lowe in that battle he had with Redding for those first 30 laps, did he overheat them tires a little bit, and what's it gonna take to manage the rest of the race as we close in on halfway here to pull away from J.R. Shepard?
That's definitely a concern I share with you, Jeff. I mean, he was right on the back of Redding, really applying the pressure for the first 30-some laps, and that makes for a lot of use on those tires, and that being obviously a finite resource for these drivers with the only one set they have to stretch for 100 laps. And so far, this race has only had the one caution early on, so there's a lot of green flag laps being put on these tires. So conservation is going to be of the utmost importance, as James Lowe closes in on Austin Belkey in the 24 to put him one lap down. Belkey was involved in that earlier caution we had on lap 3.
And Belkey's struggling tonight, which is kind of out of the ordinary for him, especially late or early in a run. I'm not sure if that early incident got into his head a little bit or what's going on, but it's out of character for Belkey to be this far back this early.
So it is a two-car breakaway up front, Jeff. It's two drivers that probably have turned. Oh, it looks like the 6 of Kurt Smith going behind through the infield. Almost rejoins the track up in front of our leaders. So that could have been real bad, but he's able to keep it rolling, so we do stay green despite the near miss. Maybe we can catalog that one to take a look back at later, because the 6 of Kurt Smith was definitely doing some agricultural racing down there in the Langley Speedway grass. So we're gonna take a quick look at the off-road adventures of Mr. Smith here. So here he is going through turns 1 and 2. Closing in on the 19 of Lowell Jewell. I believe that was a battle for position at the time. And I'm glad we went this far back, because I really want to get the full story of what happened, because typically we don't have drivers. Oh, and there he goes, just loses the rear end. Maybe put the gas down a little bit too hard. You see him slam on the brakes to try to get woed up, and then our leaders come right up on him. So very narrowly avoiding disaster for our top runners, as Kurt Smith had to take evasive action to, well, keep his car from getting stuck in the mud.
That was a great move, and hats off to Kurt Smith on keeping it under control and not coming up into the leaders there. That takes a lot of focus to get that car slowed down in the grass like that.
And just think of all the tracks we've been to that in that same area of the track would have an inside retaining wall that would have just obliterated those cars under any other situation. So one of the perks to being here at Langley Speedway is plenty of runoff as far as the grass down there. So our leaders up front, James Lowe and J.R. Shepard, are chipping away at the rest of the field. Now the 17 of Chris Wolfson, the next driver to be put one lap down, as it almost looks like Shepard just about pushing Lowe around the track we've mentioned before, these two drivers have probably raced more laps against each other in the last couple seasons than anybody else in the Bootleg Racing League, especially battling for wins. They are the two winningest drivers since the inauguration of the Grand National Division for the Bootleg Racing League. So a lot of history and a lot of battles between these two over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, and we've seen them do battle each and every week, and it's almost surprising when they're not the two front runners as they come up on the boss man here, Bull Jewel, and Shepard's just, he's not going anywhere. He's holding tight to Lowe's bumper, and they're just set sail as Donnie Moore is now 3 seconds behind them. So this is definitely a two-car show right now.
And you got to think there is a lot on the line for Shepard in the 98. He's currently riding a 4 consecutive race win streak. It is the second longest victory streak in the history of this Grand National Division. Obviously, he set the mark with the first one, winning 7 straight at one point during the inaugural season. So Shepard looking to keep that streak alive to possibly beat his own record. But James Lowe, it's been a good couple months since he's been in victory lane, and you got to think the itch to get back there is pretty strong.
Oh yeah, he's our hungry shark of the night for sure. He's not backing down one bit.
Well, as long as he's a hungry shark and not a baby shark.
Do 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 do.
I have a 3-year-old, and let me tell you, baby shark literally haunts my nightmares.
I share your pain.
So battle shaping up for that final podium position. Justin Morton in the 9 car and 26 of Johnny Moore doing battle here as they approach the lapped car of Austin Belke. And Morton has had a very interesting night. He started 3rd, or was supposed to start 3rd originally. The lineup got a little jumbled when Mike Holloway was not able to make the start. But things went a little bit difficult for him. He did start in that outside line and got freight trained early on, but he's trying to recover here on a track that's notoriously difficult for passing. But Donnie Moore seems to be struggling a bit with the lap traffic.
Yeah, and at this point he's just battling for one more spot and one more point towards that points differential that he needs to make up to catch Shepard, and every spot counts. Even now, as he's got that 30-point lead, that 35-point lead, he's got to make up some points.
Yeah, that's, if you're going to have any hope at the championship, you got to be just about perfect to beat J.R. Shepard in this division. Now, we had a bit of a scrap up front a couple laps ago. Looks like Shepard and Lowe made a little bit of contact, which is a bit uncharacteristic for those two drivers. But as we look at him now, it looks like after that contact, Shepard might be keeping his distance a little bit, maybe giving the car a chance to cool off the tires a little bit before he makes another late charge. We're closing in on lap 75, which would be the 3/4 mark of this race. Give us 25 laps remaining at the completion of this lap we've just begun. So a long green flag run for these drivers right now. So you got to think tire conservation is really going to be first and foremost in their minds as we get to this late point in the race.
Yeah, and again, as we revisit the battle with Lowe early and how much tires did he burn out, this is going to be the point where it makes a difference, because Shepard was just following along, and now he's got to follow Lowe and wait for him to make that mistake or burn those tires the rest of the way out.
Yeah, as those of you following along with GSRC.TV know, this is probably the biggest lead that James Lowe has had all night. And it's definitely peaking at the right time here as he starts to pull away in the latter stages of this event. But you got to think J.R. Shepard is notorious for saving his stuff for the end. So with over 20 laps remaining, Shepard may just be biding his time and waiting for the right time to strike.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen JR. He's patient. He knows when to jump and when to stay. He he is one for knowing just how to push.
So the battle is ongoing now. Over 0.6 of a second, the advantage over J.R. Shepard for James Lowe, but he's got a slew of lapped cars up in front of him, and this could be a bit of a difference maker. The 44 of Jeffrey Harden being a bro, getting out of the way. But now he's coming up on the 81 of Joe Segala. And once again, this long green flag run has really lent itself to a field that's pretty stretched out here. You have the two cars up front that are just about the closest on the track, I think. But lapped cars could play a big role. They've lapped half of the field now, so only 10 cars remaining on the lead lap as these two hard chargers continue to drive their way around Langley Speedway.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to the point where Lowe's tire fall off is starting to show, because I was watching JR. He got a huge run through that last corner, and I think we're starting to see that fall off, and he's going to have to manage this half-second gap that he has back to Shepard and make sure he catches his lap cars at the perfect opportunity, because one mess up could be the end of his night.
Well, one of those cool features on the GSRC.TV page we have here is you can actually see the lap times of the last completed laps of these drivers. And so far, the last lap, James Lowe a 16.602, J.R. Shepard a 16.635. So Lowe a little bit quicker, but I emphasize a little bit. These guys are still very much close together as these laps continue to click off, and Shepard actually quite a bit faster that last lap, but you can see a little bit of a bobble, and he got caught behind the 17 of Chris Wolfson. So that could be a game changer. We have 15 laps remaining here in Langley, Virginia. So Jeff, has Shepard still got a chance, do you think, or is maybe James Lowe going to be shooting off into the sky like one of those rockets at NASA?
I think he's running out of time. I think he's got to make a move here in the next 2 or 3 laps and be able to get to Lowe, and then getting to Lowe is the easy part, honestly. Getting by him is going to be the problem as we go down here to the battle between Altice and Shinosky. And these guys are, the Shinosky boys both have had really strong runs this season, and I was kind of hoping to see them closer to the front, and we just haven't had that opportunity.
Yeah, this is a track that is just so hard to pass on without getting very physical, and these drivers have done a great job, but you're definitely right. The Shinosky boys, a pretty solid run, but I'm sure they'd probably want to see themselves a little bit higher up. But as they sit right now, Tim Shinosky is in the money spot to start up front next week at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. So maybe could be trying to hedge his odds a little bit on winning over in Sin City.
Yeah, and the Bull Ring is it's just as hard to pass there. It's really just a really tight track, and if you can get out front and stay out front, that's probably about your best bet.
Well, closing in 8 laps to go now, as Altice still trying to hold off the 0-0 of Shinosky. You got to think a win in the modified and a 6th place finish tonight in this race has got to be a pretty good night for Mr. Altice. Battle for that final podium position right now as Donnie Moore continues to hold off the 9 of Justin Morton. These drivers are probably the other two that have been the closest on the track for the duration of this race. Morton trying to get back by, but has just been planted behind Donnie Moore for the last several laps. You know, he's got to be itching to make a move. He really wants to get back up there into one of those top 3 positions. I'm sure exclusively because he wants to talk to us after this race. But Donnie Moore is just got his car planted in just the right spot, and Morton really can't get a nose in on him.
Yeah, Donnie gets such a great run off, and Justin just can't make up that gap on entry, and that's going to be the issue here is as we watch him go down and do it again. And he's got to get better on exit in order to close that gap and minimize it on entry as much as he can.
Well, definitely not the easiest track to drive, but both drivers are giving it their all here as we reach the closing laps here. Just a trio of circuits remaining here at this venerable Virginia short track. We're going to hop back up front to get a look at our leader, James Lowe, now with definitely the biggest lead he's had all night. 1.6 seconds as we are in the final 2 laps. It's going to take a pretty big event here to possibly end this trip to victory lane prematurely for James Lowe as he comes around. He'll take the white flag this time. 1 lap remaining for James Lowe in car number 99. He's right behind the lapped car of Jason Menda, but you got to think he's not going to push the issue too hard. As he comes home, he'll take his 5th career victory as he crosses the line. James Lowe, your winner here tonight at Langley, Virginia, snapping the 4-race win streak of the 98 of J.R. Shepherd. So a great run for the 99 of Lowe. So he'll be able to pull himself down to victory lane. And we're going to pull ourselves off the air for just a moment as we catch our breath and get re-racked to talk about everything that's happened here tonight at Langley Speedway. So we'll be back here shortly. You'll have a chance to check out all of our great upcoming events as they flash across your screen. And we'll have your results and post-race interviews here in just a moment. Well, we're back here at Langley Speedway here in Langley, Virginia. Just completed 100 laps for the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Division. James Lowe snaps the 4-race win streak of J.R. Shepherd to take the win, his 5th career win in this division. J.R. Shepherd had to settle for 2nd with Donnie Moore completing the podium. Justin Morton in 4th spot with Michael Redding coming home 5th after starting on pole. Ruben Altice backs up a win in the SK Modified division to come home in 6th, with Matt Shinosky and Tim Shinosky setting up to be your front row next week in Las Vegas. Robbie Robinson with a very solid run to come home in 9th, and Joe Segala completes your top 10 after an early caution.
Jeffrey Harden, after a very early incident, comes home 11th, Todd Liston 12th, Old Jewel, the boss man, 13th, Austin Belkey 14th, Kurt Smith 15th, Bruce Pearson 16th, Chris Wolfson 17th, Jason Mendez 18th, Mike Allen 19th, and Mike Holloway never made the grid tonight, finishing out your field.
Well, Jeff, we're going to head over to victory lane here. James Lowe, driver number 99, picking up the win tonight. And James, you had to follow in the tracks of that 30 car for quite a while. When did you know it was time to make the move?
Yeah, he was running a really good line there at the beginning. Really couldn't go nowhere high and really couldn't go nowhere low, so I just had to follow him there for a while. And he finally ran down into 1 and 2 a little bit too deep, I think, and it allowed me to get up under him. And from there, I just tried to save a little bit to make it to the end and hold off any challenges coming from the back.
Now, it looked like at one point in time you and JR maybe tangled a little bit there, and looks like you had time to get it gathered back up, and obviously no worse for wear as you made it to victory lane. But, two very tough drivers in yourself and JR. That had to have been a heck of a battle there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you race JR, you know it's going to be some clean racing. And I was back in the corners way up, so he probably just wasn't anticipating that and got into me a little bit, but it wasn't no harm, no foul. So I was just backing it way up for laps and laps and laps there until about 20 to go, and then I kind of turned it on.
Very cool. Now, who would you like to thank that has helped make this race possible for you?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to thank Balls Out Racing for the continued support, Kyle Smalley for the paint, Cruise Shop for sponsoring all this stuff, and Lowell Jewell for hosting the series, and you guys for broadcasting, and the other racers, man. Tonight was a great race, nice clean race.
Well, we appreciate that, James, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week in Las Vegas. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, that was James Lowe, our winner tonight, the 99 car. Our runner-up tonight, an unfamiliar position for the 98 at J.R. Shepard, and Jeff is catching up with him.
Yeah, JR, as Chris said, an unfamiliar spot for you tonight. How did the car feel, and what do you think it would have taken you to get past James there at the end?
Oh, it would have taken a caution to have some track position. This is one of those tracks that's just extremely tough. In any car, but especially these cars, the bottom's the preferred lane, and no matter how fast or slow you are, you can run your own pace and keep the guys that are faster behind you. And I think I might have been a little faster early on, but just killed the rear tires trying to make a move on him. So he kept running the line that he needed to run, and I knew he was saving some tires, and I knew I needed to go, and just couldn't get the car to rotate through the center, so it just killed the rear tires.
Yeah, we saw you guys doing battle there for about 20 straight laps, and you were really putting the pressure on him. And you guys do this every week. You guys do a great job of managing that pressure. If we go into Vegas next week, how do you feel, and what's your prediction for that?
Yeah, I really like Vegas. It's a great track to run at, and it's very line specific. You can run the outside if you do it correctly, but it's very line specific. So if you miss it, you're going to be 2-3 tenths of a second slower than what you normally would. So just going to have to focus on that and look at saving those front tires getting in the corner.
And I hate to mention this, buddy, but James just broke your 4-race win streak. You got to come back stronger next week. What is your plan?
Yeah, I mean it's gotta happen at some point. So yeah, James ran a great race tonight, and probably let one get away. But it is what it is. We'll go to Vegas and try to run hard and see what we can get out of it.
All right, before we let you go here, buddy, you got anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just thanks to the Bootleg Racing League for giving us a great place to race each and every week, and to the Cruise Shop for being a great title sponsor. Means a lot to have them on board, and I think they're back next season too. So really appreciate what they do, and of course to GSRC for doing all the broadcasts for us, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, JR, and I believe, Chris, you have Donnie Moore.
That's right, our third place finisher tonight, Donnie Moore, driver of car number 26. Donnie, you probably got sick of looking in your mirror and seeing that 9 car behind you. You two were pretty much glued together for the duration of this one. How was that little race between yourself and Justin there?
Yeah, there was no relaxing at all. He was constantly there. He raced me clean, and shout out to him for sure for doing that. Yeah, he didn't give me any room for error.
Now, with Brian Dean conspicuous by his absence and a pretty solid run for yourself here, that's going to pretty much just about lock you into that 4th position in the point standings. So that's got to feel pretty good here as a tough season comes to an end after a pretty long grind.
Yeah, I wasn't really worrying about any points, but finishes like this, it's a good start, headed in the right direction.
Now, coming up next is the Bull Ring in Las Vegas. What are your opinions on that track?
Little short track. I like the short tracks.
All right. And anybody you want to thank to help make this run possible tonight for you, Donnie?
Absolutely. I want to thank my buddies at Stone River Outfitters. I forgot them last time I was here. All your fly fishing needs, give them a shout. Look them up on Google. And of course, Lowell Jewell, Bootleg Racing, and you guys putting us on in the cruise shop for being our main sponsor.
Well, we appreciate that, Donnie. Best luck next week as we head over to Las Vegas for our penultimate race for this series. So hopefully we'll be talking to you then.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks.
All right, that was Donnie Moore, our 3rd place finisher tonight. As we wrap things up here, race fans, we do want to give a special thanks to a few people here. Of course, the Cruise Shop, the sponsor of the series. If you'd like to get a hold of them, give them a call at 260-755-6125 or visit thecruiseshopfw.com. As always, we'd like to thank the Bootleg Racing League for allowing us to broadcast their races week in and week out. It's definitely a pleasure on our end. And we want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast that'll be listed on your screen. An additional thanks to June Lalone, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the crew today, Jeff, Sean, and Dougie. And if you'd like to find out more about the GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check out our social media pages on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storemv.com. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page, hit that big red subscribe button as well, so you don't miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Next event for the Bootleg Racing League is going to be at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway next Saturday, June 6th, 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We also have several more upcoming races for our other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And as always, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.